All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today we're going to be talking about two Yieldmax stocks. We're going to be talking about NVDY and we're going to be talking about MSTY. And what I'm going to do is I want to show you guys their dividend distributions. We're going to go over their yields. We're also going to go over the stock price charts and their underlyings to see how exactly they've been performing over the past month and what is exactly causing these massive dividend yields of 119% for NVDY and 146, almost 147% for MSTY. And MSTY doesn't have a share price of $20 like Coney did back then. They have a share price of about $36 for the Yieldmax version. And so this 146% is going to equate to a very big dividend, which we will get into in this video. And then as well, I also have the company websites up. They are both in the AI space. They're both AI companies, with NVIDIA being a lot bigger than the current MicroStrategies, which is the MSTR stock. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about each, and I'm going to show you why maybe MSTR has a lot more room to grow, and potentially even the Yieldmax version has a lot more room to grow, just kind of based off of their company and their current financials. So all I want to say is if you guys do enjoy this video, we're up to 4,276 subscribers. Thank you to the 6 subscribers who joined our page. I want to say our last video, we did a little video on the solar eclipse, and that's kind of more like a funny video and an interesting video at the same time, how stocks perform during the solar eclipse. Kind of interesting if you want to check that out. And I hope you guys do enjoy your eclipse today. Be safe as well. Protect your eyes. So today we're talking about NVDY and we're talking about MSTY and their dividend distributions. So let's start with NVDY. NVDY had 119% dividend distribution. We can see here that for their share price, they're currently sitting at about $26.25, and they paid out a distribution of $2.61. That was paid out. Actually, it's paid out today, which is fantastic that we're making this video. Its ex-dividend date was the 4th of April. Yeah, $2.61 roughly. And NVIDIA over the past month, it's been recently flat. It's gone up to periods where it's been as high as $950. So as you can see, the stock moves quite a bit. Over the past 6 months, completely different story. Absolutely it pretty much doubled in the past 6 months, which is something we've seen kind of similar in Coney. But I'm very surprised that we have such a big dividend yield, judging by the fact that the stock price hasn't had a crazy amount of upward trend in the past month. It has had upward trend, but you could see here it's had its ups and then its downs at the same time. So maybe Yieldmax was able to really collect on the upside and not so much on the downside. But you could see here that they've been paying NVDY has been paying out some pretty insane dividends from NVIDIA, the underlying stock, and their current stock price history. We could see here for the past 6 months, they are pretty similar to NVIDIA. Obviously, they don't have as much capital appreciation as NVIDIA as a whole because they've been paying out some pretty big dividends over the past month. We could see here they track about the same, and you can see the big dividend paid out here, and that's why the stock dropped from roughly about $29 from a high of about $30. You can see it dropped from $29.50 all the way down to about $26.73. So that was the dividend paid out there. And of course, with the big dividends being paid out, $2 dividends being paid out on a $30 stock, we're going to have a lot of kind of NAV erosion and capital erosion, but that's okay because the dividends are covering it. And if you were to have bought NVIDIA or NVDY at a share price maybe about $20 or so, like back in October, you would be doing more than fine right now with your shares. So going to our next stock, what I want to show you is MSTY. And MSTY has a current dividend yield of about 147%. And the crazy thing is, look at their share price. They have a $36 share price. Let's just call it $36.03. And when we go down here to their dividend yields, the only dividend yield they had was this $4.12 dividend. That is a huge dividend. If you were to have bought the Yieldmax version back, let's go to MSTY. If you were to have bought it back at the inception at about $20, you'd be sitting more than fine, almost 100% in appreciation, and you have a 146% annual dividend yield. One thing to think about is if you put back that dividend into it, if you bought MSTY at $20, you'd literally have 100% return, because this 36 would become $40. And if you bought it at 20, well, 20 times 20 is 40. That's 100% return right there, which is absolutely fantastic considering that's only been about a month and a half. And really the reason why this dividend is so big at the same time is because it was not only the month of March that the dividends went into for MSTY, it was also this little bit in February here. So this run up here, and really I should show it in this stock price chart too. So you could see here that Yieldmax really went perfect on this inception, because it went live February 22nd. And you can see here on MicroStrategy's chart, if we go to February 22nd, it was back when the stock was trading at about $713. It's currently trading at $1,500, right? So $713. They started here. This is when Yieldmax started, and the stock just went absolutely parabolic, went completely up here during this time period. And you can see it actually went as high as almost $2,000, $1,919, which is pretty crazy for just a 1 month growth. And that's obviously the February and part of February, and then all of March was able to collect this $4 dividend. But is this sustainable for MSTY? It really depends on the underlying and how it performs. This was a crazy run up. And the one thing I want to talk to you guys about is look at this market cap. This is a $25.8 billion market cap. Well, what is NVDA? NVDA is a $2.2 trillion market cap, and they're both in the same space. NVDA, NVIDIA, and MicroStrategies are both AI companies. Now, obviously, one, NVIDIA being a lot bigger, but because of NVIDIA's recent run-up, most AI companies are going to most likely have a boost, and that's what we see in MicroStrategies. One thing to think about, by the way, guys, so I never really mentioned the overall market too much, but remember how the dot-com bubble was all the internet companies? Maybe 2008 was the real estate and housing crisis. What if 2024, 2025, there could be some kind of crash revolving around AI? Of course, this is kind of like a big kind of outlandish thing to say, but one thing to think about is AI companies right now are going to insane valuations. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA, for example, $2.2 trillion. That's a huge marker. And when you have companies like this, you have companies like Apple that are in the S&P 500 that make up a majority of the S&P 500. I was talking with a friend the other day, and he mentioned how really 7 companies make up the total market cap of the S&P 500. And if one was to crash, for example, NVIDIA, if this lost half of its value, which it could potentially, because it's been on a crazy run up and it could have a big drawdown, then you're looking at $1 trillion loss. You're looking at a huge market mover. $1 trillion is a lot of money. And you're seeing companies like MicroStrategies that are smaller companies in AI, of course, have these insane run-ups as well, just like NVIDIA. So AI is a space you definitely want to keep your eyes on, because if AI crashes, or if there's negative sentiment around AI companies, we are going to see huge downturns in the overall market. So this was just my opinion and a little bit about NVDY and MSTY, how their dividends distributions went for the month of April, how they were both pretty staggeringly huge, which is cool to see. But we want to see that growing and continuing in the future. Will we see that? I'm not sure, but we have to keep an eye on AI, and we have to keep on the companies NVDA and also MSTR. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it served you well. I hope it provided you guys with some value if you're interested in AI and the Yieldmax stocks. I hope you guys do enjoy. If you did, please do remember to subscribe. We're up to 4,276 subscribers. With that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.